Hello everybody, my name is Sophal and welcome to Photoshop Magic. And today we are going to be talking about a very awesome topic today again. Uh, like I love superheroes, especially Marvel superheroes and also DC, which I plan to do in the future. So this is the second superhero that I'm going to do, which is Captain America. We're going to be talking about Marvel superheroes turning Chris Evans into Captain America with double exposure. So as you can see right here, it's just Chris Evans and also Captain America right there. And I did two of them, two separate ones. So yeah, this part looks pretty amazing. It's this portion of the shield is covering his body, and it looks, and you can still tell that's him. So it looks pretty amazing. We have a before and after. And just to a disclaimer, this video is going to take a little while. So if you can't finish it in one sitting, you can always just come back and continue. And as always, this channel focuses on the magical and creative power of Photoshop, and it is designed for anybody who has no prior knowledge to get him or her excited and inspired to master Photoshop at the basic and intermediate level. If I have done that, I will have done my job. If you find value in my work, and if you want to see more videos, so basic and intermediate level on Photoshop, consider subscribing, smash that like button, and turn on that notification bell so you're notified the moment a video is posted. And if the video is too detailed or slow, you can always speed it up. And it sounds really funny when you hear it for the first time. You can do it for any video. And, feel free to make fun of me if you want. Hopefully, it will turn your bad day into an amazing day by laughing it up, and all is well. And we'll have peace in the world. So, as always give credit to the owner of the photographs. Um, if you're able to use it, sometimes you're not able to use certain photographs. And this video may contain affiliate links in the future in the description below. Thank you very much for the love and support. I'm going to show a little bit of me talking 2 times speed. In Photoshop, it's a very complex program. It's only 10 seconds. Throughout this whole tutorial, try not to get ahead by clicking away. Every click counts, because if you are one click away where a certain thing is not highlighted or it's not selected, and you go on to the next step and it's not working, and it can get pretty frustrating. Yeah, it's hilarious, right? Okay, so yeah, so disclaimer, this video and the description below contain affiliate links. I plan to put it in the future, so this means that if you do click on any of the products, I do receive a small commission for connecting you, the buyer, with the seller, provided with the special links in the channel. This helps support the channel and allows for more amazing videos to be created. And everything I say or write in this channel is my own opinion, so please do so at your own research before making any purchase decision. Thank you for the support. So I will also put all the licenses and attribution in the description below also. So this is where I got my information from. So, and if you do see any mistakes at all in the license and attribution, please let me know in the comment below, and I will do my best to fix it. I've done a lot of research into making sure that these are as correct as to my knowledge. So I got this particular image from the first one is Steve Rogers, Captain America. This is the Captain America one. Basically, this was from Creative Commons, and there was a second source also. It was for the same image, basically. And this one's for Chris Evans, and this was marked with a attribution share alike, and I have to make sure it's the same one right here and indicate any changes that were made. So basically, I took out the background and used it as a double exposure effect in Photoshop with the Captain America character on in the background. Okay, so let's get started. Let me go to where I found my two images from. So this is the first one from Flickr. We got him right here. As you can see, there's a license on the very bottom right here. If you right click on, if you just hover over it, and then you right click on it and click on open a new tab, you will be able to see that this one has attribution share alike generic, which means that we're able to remix, transform, and build upon the materials for any purpose, even commercially. And the only thing about it is we have to give credit to appropriate credit and also indicate that changes were made, which I already did on the other one. And this particular one, you have to have the same license as the original, which I do in there. Okay, so perfect. So now that we have everything here, we're going to go back to the original image, and we can just click on this down arrow. That means the end in a way of saying it's a download. We're going to click on it, and we just want the original one. So we just want to click on it, and then it's going to bring down here. Click on the up arrow, we're going to click show in folder, and there you have it. Okay, so you can do the same one for the other one. So this is the other image that we got. This one, some right reserved, so if you right click on it, you will be able to see the common creative. This one is pretty much very similar. Remix, transform. We must give appropriate credit and indicate if changes were made, which I already did also in there uh, in the description. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the very first thing that we want to do when we open up Photoshop is, as always, we go to File and we want to open up the two images that we have. So we're going to open up and we have to select the area that we need to go to find our photos, which I save in here, Captain America and main content. And we have Captain America right there and Chris Evans, the actor. Okay, so the very first one, I click to highlight it. The second one, if you don't hold the control button and you left click on it, it's not going to happen. So first one, just click on it, hold the control button down, bottom left of the keyboard, click on the second image that you want, left click on it once, and then they're both highlighted, and click open. Okay, perfect. So the very first one, as you can see, we have two different images right here. The very first thing that we have to do is we want to start with the image that we want to be in the background. So in this case, we want Captain America to be the bigger one in the background. And to avoid confusion, we're gonna make sure that we name all these different layers so we don't get confused in later. Okay, so this one, appropriately, we can just name it Captain America instead of background by the default. So what I'm gonna do right here, I'm gonna double click the background section right here. And if it doesn't work the first time, you're gonna have to do it a second time. The first time is just like indicating that you want to select it. And now we change this layer 0, which is also the background. We're going to name it Captain America. Okay, perfect. I just want to click OK. As you can see, the name got changed. Okay, so when I do mention this layer, you will know exactly what I mean. All right, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go to the quick selection tool, which is right here. The lasso tool, right here, quick selection tool. So we want to right click on it because there are many different options that we can choose from. We want to click on quick selection tool. Okay, for this one, we want to be able to uh, we want to be able to select the image that we actually want to keep. Okay, so if your brush is a little bit too small or too big, you can obviously make the changes up here. So you can see up here, if you click on the drop down arrow, you have the different sizes. Mine's at 26, and that's perfect because I already worked on this. As you saw already on the thumbnail, the program recognized that, and it kept it at the exact one. Okay, so in this area, we want to start in an area that is big enough for us to start. So let's just start from the bottom right here. So we're just gonna left click, hold and drag, and then you're just gonna drag. Make sure we get the shield here, also up here. And I am going to make a mistake on purpose. So there you go, perfect. So now, as you can see, this whole area is selected. Okay, we do not want this Avengers background to be selected. We just want Captain America to be selected. Okay, so I will show you how to fix that because there's a high chance that, with your own image, you might make a mistake. Okay, because no two images are alike. All right, so we want to hold the Alt button down. As you can see, the plus sign changes to a minus sign. We're gonna left click, hold and drag while holding the Alt button down. And I'm just gonna drag the areas. As you can see, just dragging out here, it will recognize that there's, just empty spaces and not, the things that we don't want. So that's perfect. So now that that part is done, we just, just sliding out here. Perfect, just like that. And we just want to fine tune this part a little bit too to make it as perfect as possible. Perfect. So now that you are happy and you have everything all set and ready to go, this next part is super important. And you got to make sure that Captain America is still selected. The one right here, make sure that part is selected and you still have the marching ant. If you are using the latest version of Photoshop, which I am, this will look a little bit different. Okay, the older versions, it's a little bit easier. This part, you have to really know where to click. Okay, so what we want to do, this next one, is we want to create a mask. Okay, so we want to hold the shift button down on your keyboard. While still having the marching hat, we want to go select, and then we want to left click on select and mask while holding the shift button. Okay, so we're going to left click on it, and there you have it. So if done right, you should be able to see just Captain America in the background right there. Now you can release the shift button, and you see a refine edge popped up. This is the refine edge that we want. So you can play around with the all of these different tools a little bit, as you can see. So if it was at 0, it's like a regular photograph. If it's all the way on the other end, it's bringing out, kind of like the background a little bit, which we do not want, and it looks really ugly. So you want somewhere in between, ideally somewhere near the lower end. And I just want to play around with it, the smoothness of it. So drag it all around, see which one you like. The smoother it is, the corners right here, it's getting cut out. I don't like that. So I just want to make sure that as much of him as we can. Feather, we can move the feather around. You have this glowing effect in a bit, but it's not going to be as clear. It's going to be kind of like pixelated. Contrast, want to see the color of it, color of him. I like the contrast a little bit higher, so we can always just hold the control button down and tap zoom in to zoom in a little bit. And perfect. And we can just left click, drag this out a little bit so we can move this up and down. And perfect. So you can see a little bit better. And now the next thing that we want to do is super important. Okay, before we click OK, we have to draw a line around Captain America, the edges here. So when we do bring in the other image, it will conform to Captain America's outline, okay, from Chris Evans. So all I'm doing right here is I'm left clicking, hold and drag all around him, just like so. And you got to make sure it's continuous, okay, just like that. And even if you were to paint on the inside, it won't actually go through. So we just got to make sure it's all around, just like that. Okay, and then we're just going to release. Perfect. And then we're going to click on OK. After that, we do need to create a clipping mask. Okay, so make sure that the Captain America layer is selected. That's the only one that's selected. And what we have to do to create a clipping mask is we have to click on the small circle right here, black circle. It says add a layer mask. So we have to click on that in order to create it. What we don't want to do is we don't want to left click, hold, and drag it here. There's a big difference. Okay, so now that it is selected, you still see the other one, and you want to click right there. And if done right, you should be able to see, as you can see, there's a new chain with a black background and also just the white center, which stands for Captain America. Okay, so you can see right here, it's pretty amazing. So we don't want to select anymore, so we have to click back onto the move tool to make sure that we don't make any mistakes right here. And as I have always stated in all my videos, it's always a good idea to save your work as you go along, especially in the beginning, after we have reached a milestone, which in this case, I think we have reached a milestone of being able to remove the background a little bit and create that, all these effects. So we want to go to File, want to go to Save. As you can see right there, there's a shortcut for it, Control S. We can also do it like that. So the very first one, as always, we want to be able to save it as the original Photoshop file. Even if this was our final work, we still want the original Photoshop file because when we do, we actually have more options and more of these layers and different things to be able to modify it if we so choose in the future. Okay, if we don't have it, it will just be a flat, plain photograph that we cannot make any much changes to it. There's no different layers and everything. Okay, so for this one, we can just appropriately name it Captain America, background removed, 2, and then we're going to click Save. just like that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go to our second image. So we have the second image right here. So with the second image, we want to name it appropriately also. So before we continue on, so we just want to double click right here, and we just want to name it Chris Evans, the actor. Chris Evans. Okay, so we're going to click OK. Perfect. So now that we can refer to him appropriately. So again, if the picture is too far or too zoomed in, you can always just use the control button, bottom left of the keyboard, hold it down, and tap the either plus to zoom in or minus sign to zoom out. But I think it looks perfect right now. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go to the selection tool, which is right here. And we're going to right click on it to give these three options. We want the same tool again, quick selection tool. This time, instead of selecting the images that we want, we are going to be removing the background. To be able to do that, we have to select everything but the image that we want. Okay, so I'm going to start out here. So we're going to be selecting all the background here, and later on we're going to be deleting it out to be able to remove Chris from his background. All right. So very first thing we want to do, I'm just going to start from the very corner right here. We're going to left click, hold, and drag. And I'm just going to stay in my corner. As you can see, it will, and just paint it a little bit here. You don't even need to go too close to Chris, because the computer will recognize that there is a shape there. There's a person there. So as you can see, I'm just staying quite far away from him. And this image is like perfect. So now it's literally done. This image is super easy to do. Alright, so now that we have that, you want to make sure that you stop the marching ant. And again, if you've made any kind of mistakes at all, you can just hold the Alt button down, and then you can just highlight the areas that you want to remove. In this case, we have highlighted all the background area except for Chris. Okay, and don't worry about if you're using a different image. Do not worry about the small details right now. We just want the bigger chunks. We can definitely delete each section little by little as we go on also. The first thing that we want to do is we want to go to the select tab, and we go to select tab, and we want to go to modify and smooth it out a little bit so it doesn't look out of place. And we can choose any number that we want, obviously, but the number that is probably right for this particular image is around 8 or so. We're going to click OK. The changes are a little bit subtle. You can't really tell. Okay, so now that once we are happy, we need to left click, hold, and drag the background layer to the plus icon right here with the square to be able to make a copy of it. Okay, so I'm going to left click on it once, and I'm going to left click, hold, and drag to this plus right here. As you can see, when I'm in between, it's not highlighted, so we want to make sure that this plus sign with the square on it is highlighted. And make sure you're not to the right also, because that is the trash can. We don't want to delete it. We want it right there. Okay, these things are a little bit small, so you're gonna have to be really extra careful. So now that it is highlighted, I'm just gonna release it. And as you can tell, we have a new name. It's called Chris Evans Copy. Okay, it's perfect. And all we have to do, we just have to make sure that Chris Evans Copy is selected, and we can still see the marching ant. All you have to do from there, you tap the delete button on your keyboard. And if done right, at the bottom right hand corner right here, you can tell that the background was removed. And to be able to tell even more, you want to turn off the eye right here of the original image, and to reveal the background that got removed from Chris Evans right here. So that's perfect. So you can see these checkerboards pattern. These checkerboard patterns in Photoshop indicates that it is an empty space. There's like nothing there, which means that you are free to remove this particular image to any background that you want. So what I really want to do is I really want to move this microphone too. It might looks weird of him just not holding anything, but I think it'll be really nice if we can to try to remove that also. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to left click, hold, and drag right here. I'm just going to highlight this microphone as much as I can, and we'll see what it does. If I like it, I'll remove from there. So we're going to tap delete. And yeah, that does not look good. Okay, because it's, yeah. So since we don't like that, we don't have a background awareness right here, and it will probably take too long. We're going to undo this. To undo, we're going to hold the control button down. We're going to tap C, and there you go. It's back to normal. And we're going to tap Z again to make sure it's back to normal. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to click on the move tool right here. The move tool will allow us to move Chris around. So as you can see right here, I'm moving him around in empty space. And now, since we have done a lot of work right now, and we have saved our work, every few minutes or so we should continue to save our work. There is a shortcut, and it doesn't take that long. It literally takes like a few seconds. We're going to hold the control button down. We're going to tap S. And sometimes if it's a lot of like changes, you will see down here it will get saved. But it's always good to do that because you can feel a lot better because now that you have saved up to this point. So if something were to happen, because we never know if something were to happen, there could be an earthquake happening right now. The power could go out, the battery could die, the program can crash, anything can happen. That's just part of life, and we have to not just embrace it, but uh, learn how to live with it and be able to adapt. So in this case, we're just gonna, save as much as we can every few minutes or so we don't miss any work. Okay. So now we want to be able to move Chris to the other one. So what we want to be able to do is we want to make sure that the move tool is selected. We want to make sure we can drag him anywhere in here. So we're going to left click, hold, and drag. This part is a little bit complicated if you've never done it before or seen it before. So basically, we are going to be dragging him out of, as you can see, out of the border. But basically, I'm left clicking, holding, and dragging Chris up here to the title section right here. Okay, and what we want is we want to move him across to the other title. And the moment that I cross it over, it changes automatically to the other one. And if I were to bring it back down, I will see that there is a plus next to that cursor right there. And I want to release it anywhere in this empty space. Okay, so we're just going to release it. And sometimes it might look a bit overwhelming or it's like really too big. And you can see it looks really funny. Okay, so it's okay. So the one thing that we want to do right now is we want to be able to resize Chris. Okay, so we want to hold the control button down while the Chris Evans copy is highlighted, and we want to tap on T. And if we left click, hold, and drag, I'm gonna drag him down out here. You can see there's 4 different corners. You can't see the rest right now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come to one of these corners, and you see these double arrows. We're gonna left click, hold, and drag him down, and then I'm gonna left click, hold, and drag it up. So basically, I'm just moving him up right now, so I can further resizing it, shrinking it down, dragging him up, and then come back to this double arrow, left click, hold, and drag, shrink him down as best as I can, so I can still see a little bit of it to be able to drag it back up. And as you can see, he's getting a little bit smaller, and it stays proportional, just like that. With newer versions of Photoshop, they have made that a standard instead of holding the shift button. Uh, the shift button, if you in the older versions, if you don't hold the shift button down, it's not going to be as proportional. With the newer version, it's the opposite, where if you don't hold it down, it's proportional. So I kind of like that a lot better. Okay, so now I think he's a little bit too small. I think it looks best if he's just right below the chin. So because we still a little bit left right here, I'm gonna make him a little bit bigger, just like that, and so we can drag him down. Perfect. And I think it's too zoomed in. We're gonna hold the control button down, and we're gonna tap the minus sign to zoom out a little bit. I think that looks nice, just like that. Okay, sweet. So I'm just gonna move him in a little bit. Perfect. And now that I like his position or where he's at, I'm gonna click on the check mark button to save it. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the new image, which is called Chris Evans copy right here, it's highlighted if it's not already. So we're going to left click on it to make sure it's highlighted. And we're going to rename it to make it match. So in this case, I'm just going to double click on it. We're going to take out the copy. So it's just going to be back to Chris Evans, okay? So to be able to save it, I'm just going to click out of it. There you go. And I'm going to click back into it to make sure that's highlighted before going to the next one. Because if this other one was highlighted, we wouldn't get the same effect that we would like. Okay? Alright, so now that's highlighted, the name has been changed, so we can continue on without being a little bit confused. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to create a clipping mask. Okay, to be able to do that, we gotta make sure it's still selected. So, and then we want to right click on it, and we want to click on create a clipping mask. And if done correctly, you should be able to see a left arrow right here um, down. And because he's not all that big, to show you what we just did by creating that mask, when you have the move tool right here, I'm just gonna left click, hold, and drag Chris around the image. So as you can see, he is blend in into Captain America. And if I were to move him from the background, he's blocked from the background. So he's definitely with Captain America right here. So we have him right where we want him, just like that. Okay, we don't want him to be cut out a little bit either. Perfect, just like that. And now we want to be able to have a background in the back. So to do that, we have to create a brand new layer. We're going to click on the plus sign with the square around it. And yeah, sometimes you have to click on it twice. One to make sure that we want to select it, and the second time to be able to get the layer. And we want to name this correctly. Like I said, this is going to be our white background. Okay, we can give it any color that we want, and I think white is just a better. It looks a lot better. So if you want to have it a different color, you can. If you want to, we're just going to double click right here to rename it. We're just going to name it white background. Okay, just like that. And since we do not want this white background to be blocking everything, and if you're not too familiar with the different layers in Photoshop, the top layer is the one that's going to be the first thing that you see. It's like a hamburger. The top, you have the top bun. We also have the bottom bun. The top part is the top bun. So you'll be able to see that layer first if you were to look at it, in front of you. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to drag this down. We're going to left click, hold, and drag it down until you see these these turquoise lines. Indicates that you're going to be this one right now. I'm left click, hold, and drag. It's going to be below the second one, which we do not want. We want it to be at the very bottom, right there. We're going to release, and now it's at the bottom. Okay. So now, because it is still selected, if I were to go to the forward the foreground right here color, make sure it's white or the color that I want. This case, even though we name it white background, let's just pick a different color. Okay, so I think this color will look best. It's like water in a way because we already have red right here. We don't want, or even yellow because there's no yellow in there. I think yellow will look amazing in there. So we're just gonna come down to this yellow, drag it down, pick a yellow, and we're gonna click OK. And now we have to go to the paint bucket. We're gonna right click on it, and between the three options, we'll click on paint bucket tool, and as you can see, the cursor changes to the paint bucket. Okay, and you have to make sure that the white background is selected. That's our name, but we're gonna be coloring it a different thing. We can rename it if we want to, but there's no point in doing it. It's not gonna be a white background. Okay, it's gonna be a yellow background. So, and we want to click on the empty space right now, any of the empty space, to color it, just like so. Left click on it once, and there you have it. It's a yellow background, okay? And let's just name it yellow background, just like that. Perfect. All right, so I'm just gonna click out of it to save it, and then click back onto it to make sure it's still selected. After that, we want to be able to click on the move tool. So make sure that, we don't make any unnecessary changes that we do not want to do, especially after we just click on the paint bucket tool. Okay. So now that we have the Chris Evans layer on the very top, and the next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that's highlighted. So I'm just going to left click on it once, and we are going to create a clipping mask. Okay. So basically, to create a clipping mask, we have to go down to this section right here with a small black dot surrounded by the white rectangle. And you do not want to left click, hold, and drag it there. What you do want is to make sure this one's highlighted, and you want to click on it once to create that effect. There's two separate things between dragging it down and tapping on it. So what we want to do is we want to just click on it after Chris Evans is selected, which in this case is him right here. Okay, so it's just click on it right there, and if done right, you should be able to see a chain with a white background in there. So what that does is it allows us to be able to create some amazing effects. After that, instead of it automatically selects as you can see right here, there's a small four corner selection right there of the second box. What we want is to make sure that the first one is selected. So sometimes you have to click on it twice, not fast. We want to click on it once to make sure that we want that, and then click on it again to make sure it's a final one. And now that I have this section selected, if you look at my cursor right there, then we can actually make more changes. And as I have stated many times, it's always best to save our work. I think we've come a long way. So saving our work is super easy. Hold the control button down, tap S, and if you look at the very bottom, it changes a little bit, indicating that it has saved our work. Okay? So since I like this a lot, and before I even do anything, I actually want to save this as a JPEG already. Okay, we're going to go to File, we're going to go to Save As. And I have said this many times, the biggest difference between save and save as is that save as will not affect the original save. It's a totally separate file, so you can do as many save as you want after each special effect. So let's just say you've come across an effect that you really like, you saved it, and you do a save as. You can save it in a different location or with a different name. It doesn't really matter. It will keep both of them. Okay, so this one, I know I want to keep it, so we're just gonna save it to here. Final, we're just gonna put let's see, Captain America effects final, just like that. And as always, we want to make sure it's a Photoshop one for the very first save. Okay, so double exposure effects, double exposure effects final. Okay, so we're gonna click save, and we're gonna click OK. So now I'm gonna let it save. Sometimes it does take a little while, and it's not gonna let us save as again. This time we're gonna save it as again, save it to the computer, and we can keep it as the same title because we are going to change the format of it, which in this case is gonna be JPEG. Okay, so it's just like that, and we're gonna click save, and it's not gonna affect each other because it's a different format. And this one's asking us how big we want it. We just want to click OK. Perfect, just like that. So now I feel really good that I have this one saved already. So if I were to show you, if we were to go to the main content here, right here, Captain America double exposure effect final, if we double click on it, we will be able to see that this is our work. So we can just continue on. No matter what I were to do from this moment on Photoshop, this one already got saved. Okay, so I don't have to be afraid of, making modification to a thing that I might lose. Okay, this one's a separate file, got saved. We're gonna do another save as once we have reached our final thing. Okay, so we're gonna go back to Photoshop right here. We're gonna continue on. So now that this section, just Chris Evans, the first section is highlighted, if not already, we're gonna make sure it's highlighted, and we're gonna go above it to this drop down arrow, and we're gonna start from the very top where it's normal, and we're just going to hover over each one of them to see the different effects that it will do. As you can see, this linear burn, it does not look good at all. So depending on what two images you have, what different exposures you have, different effects that you have, they're all going to be different. So there's really no way of knowing how it's going to look until you actually get there. And using our own judgment, we're going to, see which one looks nice. This one looks kind of okay, but I do not like the fact that this blue right here is blocking his face. We can't really tell who he is in general, so I don't like that. We're going to go to lighten. Not really. We can't see most of his body. We can just tell who he is actually. In our screen, a little bit better. Dodge color, lighter color, overlay, soft, vivid, difference. I think this one's probably our best one. This one is the one that is very similar to the thumbnail that I showed you in the beginning, just right here. Where part of his shield is covering his uniform right here, and it looks kind of amazing. You can tell who he is, just like that. And I think that one looks amazing. So we're just gonna keep this one. So again, we're gonna go to File. We are going to save as. It's a brand new file, and we can even pick a brand new location. And we're gonna save it too. Keep it as Photoshop as the first one. We're gonna click OK. Let it save. We're going to go to File again. We are going to click on Save As. Save this computer. Keep the same name. Change the different format to JPEG or any different formats that we have here. Click Save and click OK. Perfect. So now that we've gone through all of them, it seems like this one's the best one. What we can also do, we can also make changes to Captain America himself. So instead of up here, we're gonna left click right here to Captain America, and we're just gonna do the same thing. So click right there. So now it's gonna make changes to just Captain America. You can just do it like that. We have dissolve. It's kind of cool. Darken color. As you can see, some of these, because of the computer generated, it doesn't look as nice to the human eyes unless you want a certain effect. I think this one looks kind of nice too. Just like that, there you have it. So you can even keep this one, the dissolve one. It looks pretty amazing if you ask me. So we're gonna save this one also. We're gonna go to File. We're gonna save as. We're gonna save this computer. So that's the beauty of Photoshop. There's endless creativity. We're gonna name it 3. And then we're gonna click OK. So we're gonna save as again. We are going to save it as JPEG. So perfect. So let me just show you of the different files that we have here. So there we are. We have 2 and 3 right here. So we double click on it. That's the second one. And 3 is pretty obvious. You will be able to see the, if I zoom in a little bit here, you'll be able to see that it's the dissolve version. That looks pretty cool. All right, and there you have it. For the double exposure of, the second superhero, the first Avenger, Captain America, Chris Evans. And as always, thank you for subscribing. And if you find value in my content, please consider subscribing. Smash that like button to make sure that for the YouTube algorithm, so this will be shared with more people and we can create more videos for you. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day.